There once was a goat, a wicked horned goat. She was at war with everyone, did mischief to all, butted with her horns, stomped her feet, and threatened, "I, a hairy horned goat. Whoever touches me will fare badly. I will stomp him with my feet. I will beat him with my tail, and I'll eat him up." All feared her because she threatened them terribly. She grew bold, minded nobody, pillaged every garden. What she could not eat, she broke, stomped on, damaged. All suffered because all were afraid. One day she went into a tailor's garden. The tailor sat sewing at the window. When he spied the goat among his cabbages, he jumped up shouting, but the goat minded him not, just as if she heard him not. "Oh, your hour has come! Do you think a tailor is afraid of a goat?" shouted the master. He caught up his big tailor's shears, jumped through the window, and ran towards the goat, opening and shutting his shears all the while. The goat saw a tailor for the first time. For the first time also, she saw shears, and she became frightened at the brave tailor. She ran. He followed her, opening and shutting his shears all the time. The tailor was thin, lean, and light, and he had long legs. But still the goat ran faster on her 4 feet than the tailor could on his 2. She escaped him. The tailor fell on the grass puffing. "I am a hero. There is none braver than I," he said, and went home a proud and haughty man. The goat kept on running. Leaving the road, she ran through a thick forest until, almost ready to drop from exhaustion, she fell into a fox's den. "I shall remain here. The tailor won't find me here," she said. She stayed there, but she was so frightened that she trembled all over. By this time, Mrs. Fox came home, but she could not get into her den, as it was occupied by the goat. "Who is in there?" she called angrily. The goat was afraid, but she shouted loudly, "I, a hairy horned goat. Whoever touches me will fare badly. I will stomp him with my feet. I will beat him with my tail, and I'll eat him up." Mrs. Fox almost fainted from fear. She went aside and sat, crying that she had no place to go. Soon Mr. Fox came home, and seeing his wife in distress, he asked her, "What has happened to you, mother? Why do you cry?" She answered, "A terrible misfortune has befallen us. Somebody went into our den, does not want to come out, and threatens to eat us up." "Oh, who can it be?" said the fox. "I will make him come out." Together they went to the den. The fox, knowing he was in the right, asked boldly in a deep voice, "Who is in there?" The goat was very much frightened, but she shouted with all her might, "I, a hairy horned goat. Whoever touches me will fare badly. I will stomp him with my feet. I will beat him with my tail, and I'll eat him up." The fox lowered his head, hung his tail between his hind legs, and whispered, "I am not strong enough to make it come out. I cannot help." They went away into the forest, crying bitterly. A hare met them and stopped, wondering. He said, "This is news, this is news. Mr. Fox crying?" "Oh, this is nothing. I have only tasted some strong tobacco," explained the fox, wiping his eyes with shame. "Tobacco? A goat and not tobacco? A goat went into our den and will not come out. Where shall we go now, poor orphans?" cried Mrs. Fox. The hare, being kind-hearted, felt sorry for the foxes, cried with them a little, and then said, "Am I a hare of hares afraid of a foolish goat? We shall see." He whisked past the foxes to their dens so fast they could barely follow him, and called, "Who is in there? Come right out!" The goat became more and more frightened because she thought there were many animals in the forest, and although some were afraid of her, there would come one that would chase her out of the den. And outside the den, the tailor with his big shears awaited her. She stomped her feet and cried in a fearful voice, "I, a hairy horned goat. Whoever touches me will fare badly. I will stomp him with my feet, I will beat him with my tail, and I'll eat him up." The hare jumped aside and fled, as if a whole leash of greyhounds pursued him. When he saw, however, that no one was after him, he felt ashamed and went back to the foxes. Now the foxes were asking the wolf to help them. Mrs. Fox sat under a bush, adding a word or two to the gentleman's conversation. Mr. Fox, arm in arm with the wolf, paced to and fro, putting the whole matter up to the wolf. "What shall we do now?" the fox kept saying. "It is of no use looking for a new place, as all the dens, small holes, and even last year's nests are occupied. Everything has its corner and a roof over its head, except us, poor orphans. We, foxes of foxes that were used to live comfortably, what shall we do when the little cubs come? Help us, Mr. Wolf, as you are our relative, friend, and godfather, and I am helpless." The wolf listened patiently and said, gnashing his teeth, "You will be sleeping on her skin yet, you'll see. Lead me to your den. It's time to end this evil thing." They went to the den, the hare scampering after them. The goat heard them coming and closed her eyes, thinking her last hour had come. The wolf gnashed his teeth, shouting, "Who is in there?" The goat, awaiting her death, at first could not make a sound. But then, in her terrible fright, she screamed in a voice she could not recognize as her own. "I, a hairy, horned goat," and threatened as she always had before. When the wolf heard that the goat would stomp him with her feet and beat him with her tail, he became so frightened that he flattened his ears, stepped aside from the den, and whispered to the fox, "I cannot help it. It is too much for me." "Well, didn't I say so?" groaned the fox. "Such is my misfortune, to die meanly because of a horned goat." They all wept and cried aloud. Going further into the forest, they met a bear coming up to them. He was very much satisfied with himself, having just eaten a lot of sweet honey. He was somewhat bitten by the bees who guarded their property. One part of his face was swollen, but he did not care, the hairy beast. Hearing so much lamentation, he stopped and asked what had happened. They all began talking at the same time, making so much noise that the bear covered up his ears and shouted to them to speak one at a time. Otherwise, he could not understand them, and they would make him deaf. Mrs. Fox had a greater ability for talking than the rest, and so she described their sad affliction, saying unpleasant things about each and every helper. The bear laughed heartily, repeating time after time, "They're afraid of a goat? They're afraid of a horned goat?" The fox and the wolf resented the bear's belittling remarks, but they said nothing as they wished him to help them. When the bear stopped laughing, he said, "All right, now let us go to the goat, but I must take along my 2 helpers." His 2 helpers were a crab and a hedgehog. The crab walked along slowly, moved his claws, and threatened, "I am a crab, and this is the way I pinch." The hedgehog rolled on his short feet, stuck out his needles, and kept on saying, "I am a hedgehog, and this is the way I prick." The bear called his helpers, and the whole crowd went to the den. The bear asked the goat, "How fare you in the den, my nanny goat?" The goat was terror-stricken because she had never heard such a gruff voice, but she threatened as usual. "I will stomp you with my feet, I will beat you with my tail, and I'll eat you up." "Oh, dear me," laughed the bear. "Eat up fast, don't delay. I'll send you down too." Turning to those around him, he continued, "The crab and the hedgehog will go in to chase out the goat. The wolf and I will wait at the mouth of the den to catch her. Mr. and Mrs. Fox had better wait on top of the hill to get her in case she should slip from our hands. The hare, being the fastest, had better run to the other side of the hill. Should she pass us all, he won't let her go." The crab pinched the goat with all his strength, and the hedgehog rolled with his needles over her back, so that the goat whisked away from the den immediately, dashed by the bear and the wolf, ran up the hill so fast that the foxes stepped aside. The hare watched better than the rest. He jumped straight on her back and did not let her go. The whole crowd came running to mete out justice to the goat. "Well," said the bear, "you got what you asked for. Your end has now come. Let the foxes judge you, for they are the ones you wronged." The goat saw that she was in trouble and that no one was afraid. So she began from a different angle. She stomped her feet, held her sides, and mocked them. "What heroes you are! All of you together to get one goat, a bear and a wolf, 2 foxes and a hare, and those other 2 have not reached me yet. Now you're so anxious to get to my skin. Hasten with my end, otherwise I'll make you known throughout the forest." They were ashamed and afraid that the other animals might hear the goats shouting, and so the wolf said, "All right, we will not go against you, a crowd against one. If you wish, we can have a proper war. Let us each gather an army and meet again in 3 days. Agreed?" "Agreed," shouted everybody. Even the goat agreed, for what could she do? Just the same, she was glad that she gained 3 days' time. They parted to gather their armies. The goat's enemies did not even try to gather an army, laughing at the thought of her army. The bear, the wolf, and the fox, just the 3 of them were ready to fight the goat, as it did not become Mrs. Fox to fight. The crab and the hedgehog could not be found, and they were ashamed to ask the hare, for he was the one who had caught the goat. It went worse with the goat. She was afraid of the tailor, and she had accounts with other people. Where could she look for an army? She went hither and thither, but from each that she asked, a dog or a horse, she received the same answer: "You brewed the beer, drink it yourself." Besides, they were afraid to fight a bear and a wolf. The goat was desperate. She thought to herself, "I will surely pay with my head, and I must keep my word, and I cannot find anybody to help me." But on the 3rd day she came across Latek, a dog, with a scalded side, who was willing to help her. He licked his side, saying, "I might just as well fight as not. I have 1 war with my master for killing his lamb, and another war with my mistress for the lard she did not lock up in time. I may have a 3rd war in the forest, I don't mind. Let us go." "There are not enough of us. We need at least 1 more," said the goat. "I'll bring along 2 more," promised the dog. Soon he brought with him a dark gray cat and a swaggering rooster who was not afraid of anything. "There are 4 of us now, and that makes a whole army," said the dog. "Let us go." They went to the forest. The three left in the forest had grown tired of waiting a long time for the goat's army. The fox at last begged the bear, "Oh, brother, you know how to climb trees. Go up a pine and you may see them from the height." The bear climbed the pine, looked around, and called down, they're coming, but do you know it is a fierce-looking army? One shouts, 'Let me have him, let me have him.' The second one crawls along the ground, scenting our tracks. The third one has a glistening sword hanging down his side. And this terrible goat to make the matters worse. Well, my dears, you better look out for yourselves, for I am not coming down this pine." At once the wolf leaped aside and ran away. The fox dug into the moss so that only the tip of his tail was seen. The goat came with her army, looking for her enemies, but she found nobody. After a while, the cat spied the fox's tail and grabbed it with his sharp claws. The fox jumped out, shouting dreadfully, and in a fright the goat's army ran in different directions. The cat was frightened the most, and he ran up the tree to where the bear sat. "They're after me," thought the terrified bear. He let go of the branch where he sat and fell down to the ground with such a shock that the earth around trembled. Both armies ran away, scattered by fear. "Well, well," grumbled the bear. "Now I may wander for 3 days and not meet anyone, and my sides ache so that I will not last without a massage. If I only catch sight of the hare, he is kind-hearted, he will save me." Somehow he got up and went along moaning, when of a sudden he heard nearby the goat's doleful bleating. "If I could only get a hold of you, I'd make your sides ache too," thought the bear to himself. Just then the goat appeared in front of him. The hare sat on her back, holding her fast by her horns, and threatening, "I will not let you go. You must be punished. You lost the war as I caught you fleeing. Let the fox judge you." "Oh, Mr. Hare," called the delighted bear. "Run, brother. Bring me some mosquito fat, as I must be massaged after the war. My sides are so badly beaten that I can hardly stand. All my hope is in you, that you will save me, because I cannot go far by myself." The hare did not hesitate a moment. He jumped off the goat's back and scuttled away for the mosquito fat. This was all the goat needed. She knew the bear could not chase her, so she leaped aside and ran away. She ran 1 day, 2, 3. She ran 6 weeks and a year, and maybe she runs to this very day.